Hello, and welcome to the Wednesday, October 26, 2022 edition of Joe Baker's Remedy Report, a show about bringing harmony to the world through economic innovations, health tips, increased awareness. The show's for entertainment purposes only, link. And, well, today I don't have a lot planned per se. I'm just going to wing it, probably talk some more about the ideas of forgiveness capital and what that all means. I was watching a movie by Thrive. There's an organization called Thrive, and they're talking about the question: what in the world do we have to do to thrive as a people, as a species here on Earth? And one of the things they talk about is the field of the torus. It's like a field effect, like a pattern of energy flow, and it's like a ball, but at the top it kind of caves or siphons in, kind of like a tornado down the center, if you will. But at the very center of this whole thing is a point where everything collapses into almost nothing. It's like one very small point, and it's an inversion point. It's where all this information and flow of energy converges down to just one little bitty point. And at that point, it reverses. Something happens to it, and it begins to come out, and it expands its rotational orbit, comes out to this, to the equator, and up back up again, and flows back through. And this is what our pretty much they assert that the pattern of almost every energetic field of everything, has this, this plant has a torus field of energy around it and about it. And you and I have this torus field. The earth itself has a torus energy field. And these all interact with the fields next to them. And there are 12 fields that would be, above and below, and all these different sides around it. And I started thinking about that today, and how that might interact with the forgiveness capital concepts I have, where we start to bring forth a new monetary system based on forgiveness. And you know what I've been doing with people is establishing a bilateral forgiveness arrangement ahead of time, ahead of any controversy. And I've just been doing this as kind of an experimental thing. I've got the terms of that are in the forgiveness public license. You can find that at forgiveness. There, I'll have it on the screen and in the chat room for you. Great. And well, when you do this, you're establishing infinite elasticity in a relationship. And that's a pretty profound thing. And if you think about it, in this day and age, when they're using all these divide and conquer techniques against people, families, business relationships. Stephen, good to see you there. How about it? Good to see you. And how's your dog? Bonnie, I think her name was. Anyway, good to see you there. And from over the Atlantic there in England, I believe. It's been a while. So I might have a guest call in here. I had a telephone call scheduled, and then I tried to reschedule it, a couple of days earlier, because I thought maybe I'd have to do the show today. If he calls, I might jump off the show. But it's a pretty important call. Bobby is fine. That's it, Bobby. Great. So about this, agreeing to forgive somebody and to be forgiven by them, and doing that both ways, establishes an infinite trust of value. If you ever want to touch, you know, more money than exists on the world, go to somebody you know that you want to know forever and say, "Look, I'll extend to you. We'll have an arrangement, a forgiveness arrangement. I'll forgive you for anything. You forgive me for anything. We both agree to be forgiven according to the terms of the forgiveness public license. So if I get hurt really bad, I can create money. Now it's play money. I'll give you that. It's money that at first glance doesn't have any value at all. But I can claim the damages are what allows me to issue forgiveness to offset them. And when I issue the forgiveness to offset the damages, I am flowing that value through an asset like a cryptocurrency or a contract. So that's the thing. You can be an infinitely wealthy person if you just do this with your friend. Now, I've done this with Star Hills. Star comes on the show every now and then, and we've agreed to forgive each other for anything. And it's actually helped. That whole flat Earth thing. Well, she's into that. She's talked about it in the past, and I just didn't want to get into it. I'd like, nothing is very persuasive to me about that argument. I'm not interested in it. And she was very, very patient for years with this about with me about this topic. And then one day she blew up at me, and was very angry and all this. And then I reminded her in a conversation afterward. I'm like, you've agreed to forgive me, and I'm calling you on that. I need your forgiveness. And we recognized it, and that because we had set forth that principle in our friendship, that we would agree to forgive each other for anything. It's always available if we need it. We were able to sustain through that issue. And we both have our divergent opinions about this, but we also have a deep love and respect for each other. And now Star got in a mess with the police in near, I think it's the city of Florence in Colorado. And they arrested her, and without cause. And this is very, very concerning. So because she and I are connected through this infinite value trust of forgiveness, I was able to intervene. I'm able to tell them at the city. I wrote the city administrator. Would you like to hear what I wrote? Let's see if I can find this thing. Yes, to Tom. Oh, his name's hard for me to pronounce. Pittingsrud. Saturday, October 22nd. Is that when I sent it? It was the 24th. Well, I, Joseph William Baker, Service Mark, am writing in the matter of last month's arrest of Star Hills. I claim standing in the matter because Star Hills and I are members of an infinite trust under the terms of the FPL, Forgiveness Public License. Star and I have agreed to forgive one another for anything and to be forgiven by each other. You see, my net worth is affected by the ongoing actions of your agencies against her without cause, and I cannot stand for. This I cannot stand for. In short, I am urging this matter to be reviewed by the highest decision makers in your administration in hopes of an immediate cessation of court activities against her. Please dismiss the case immediately and make payment to Star Hills according to the agreements of the officers who mishandled her, mistaking her for a prisoner. By arresting Star Hills without being able to produce a verified complaint to the action your organizations have performed. False arrest, false imprisonment, torture, inflicted aggressive assault without common decency, stolen Star's freedom and liberty, inflicted worry and concern to the friends and family of Star Hills. Furthermore, in light of the fact that nobody was in any sort of danger, no acts of violence occurred, we need to examine just what jurisdiction these acts were allegedly performed under. You see, if we're members of the Forgiveness Public License, we agree to forgive each other in this way, in this economic way of creating money, monopoly money, if you will. We also create the standing to be able to go go up against or to marshal the energy that's being taken that's being used against Star. I'm able to tap into the energy flow, be a part of it, and I'm able to perhaps issue forgiveness to the government and issue money at the same time. Monopoly money. But we can do things with this kind of money. It's not just like, printed paper and all this kind of stuff that someone could counterfeit. It's done in a way where it can't be counterfeited. It's very mathematically provable that a piece of this stuff is what we say it is. I mean, maybe not monopoly money of sorts, but I've got ways of figuring out how we can gradually engage this money into the economy. But here's what I said. I set forth a deadline and demand any evidence to support your claim that your government laws, codes, and constitution apply to anyone just because they're inside the geographic border of your city, county, or country. Your deadline to produce such evidence is October 27th, 2022 by midnight. Failure to produce such evidence demonstrates that your government operates under a false set of beliefs. Failure to produce such evidence further makes every one of your police officers a perjuring liar. For every time they swear in a police report that one performed a code violation or broke a law, they're swearing that the law in fact applies, when neither they nor the administration of your government can provide any such evidence why laws should apply within the geographic boundaries. So let's presume the only reason the laws apply is because you're imposing military force to bend the will of subjects. This violates human decency and voids any supposed authority to impose violence. Or, if it is suggested that people volunteer into jurisdiction, well, the acts of indoctrination, deception, threat, and being under duress invalidates all contracts, even if one who presumes himself to be a citizen is unaware. The contracts are void, unconscionable, and anyone who seeks to enforce them does so being fully liable for the damage caused. It is Star Hills who came to this matter in peace, offering to do what the officers demanded at a price per action of 10 million silver dollars per action. I understand there were 20 such actions done against her will, causing an owing of nearly $3.7 billion. I observed the arrest video. Fortunately, Star is a huge supporter of my projects at forgivenesscapital.com. Here, I am seeking to create forgiveness based judgments which bear a face value. I am also appalled by the prison conditions Star reports. Star had previously suffered from mold toxicity issues, also known as mycotoxins. In order for Star to not relapse into horrible symptoms, she needs to restrict carbohydrates, even to the extent of not eating grain fed beef. I performed remote energetic therapies on Star in the past to help her get through those dark and difficult times several years ago. There seems to have been an absolute failure of prison staff to understand this matter by the medical representatives and the food preparation staff. The loud televisions playing violent content was damaging to Star's psyche. Also, consider that mold toxicity can make sounds further echo in the mind beyond what echoes happen from the cold, hard walls in there. Joseph William Baker is my registered service mark with the U.S. Patent Office and may only be used with express permission. You have my permission to use this name in an effort to bring resolution of this matter in favor of Star Hills. This example of inhumane treatment by your institutions is shameful. Only Star Hills can put your institutions back into honor over this matter. Until that happens, your organizations appear to be acting as a racketeering network of corrupt influence. Sound familiar? It appears difficult to acquire the email addresses of your mayor, town council, police chief, etc. I wish to inquire of all of them as to whether they have evidence of jurisdiction because one is inside the geographic boundaries of the city. Thank you. Regards, Joseph William Baker. I'm available to discuss this matter at 262 806 8031. There you go. And I sent that carbon copy to cc at evidencebuilder.com. How about that? So nobody's talking up a storm in the comment rooms. Okay. Well, that's that. We're going to see what happens with this because and I've always thought that Bitcoin should be any cryptocurrency, whatever. There's a whole community of people, and they all have, if they hold it, they typically, have the best thoughts in mind for the value of that shared asset. They all share sort of a community bond. And when government attacks any one of those people, if they do the agreements right, the terms and conditions of the agreement of holding the asset, then they can have standing to intervene when the government is attacking one of its members or adherents. So the Remedy Coin series of products uses the Forgiveness Public License. Antimoney.net uses these as well. Anti-IVAX is out there. Beautifully written. Thank you. My concern is what your guest pointed out yesterday. This may be seen as just your opinion and not accepted by those you are writing to. And that's that may be my opinion, but even the guest yesterday could not explain why the laws apply to a person just because he's inside a physical jurisdiction. He just goes to these, fanciful ideas of how a society needs to have a government And no, it doesn't need to have a government. So, and I got to listen to it again so I can pick it apart, pick his response apart a little bit more. I really didn't want to go and be hostile with him as a guest on there when he was there, and I really wanted to have Mark Stevens, on as a guest as well. Let's see, I really hope this is not the case, though. Of course, let's see. At the end of the day, power of thought is a powerful thing as it is manifesting. Use those tools, yes, because it's corrupt. So there's this idea that we've got this torus field for anything. A human being, maybe a torus field even might even surround a thought or an idea. And it makes these geometries. I don't know if you've seen. Anyway, there's these spheres, and it's like a bunch of balls all around it. There's one ball in the middle, there's a bunch of balls around it, and any ball can be the ball in the middle. It's your focused imagination, your concentration. That's what picks the ball. And the idea is that it's all connected. I'm here, I'm connected, I've got all these, and even the viewers, you guys we're connected etherically in like another kind of dimension, in another sort of way, because we're sharing focus and ideas, concentration. And thank you, Ivex, for the comments. And the ability to take a large amount of energy, and push on the neighboring ball. We have to think about, okay, well, what can that ball do with the energy? Can it bounce? Can it, take the bounce and move on to the next ball and pass that on? We might think of that as being kind of rigid. We've seen that in those strings that hang down with the metal balls on the bottom, and you take one and you drop it, and it knocks it stops, goes right there, but the energy transfers through the other ones and all the way to the last ball, and then that one swings up and comes back down, and then the energy flows back and up here. So you've got energy flows like this, and but you don't have to just push it on to the next person. That's what we've done so far in terms of how we deal with conflict in the world today. Usually we sue somebody and then try to get demand that they pay us. It's kind of a very rigid thing, and there's a lot of loss along the way. There's a lot of loss of energy in the whole process. But when we look at the possibility of of absorbing the energy, like a ball can push against another ball, and instead of it being kinetic energy in the same direction, what if it could switch into rotational energy, and that ball could convert all this energy into a rotational sort? Or what if it had the ability to ground the energy, to basically convert it to electricity and send it to the earth ground, something like that? Or with this whole torus effect of moving energy out and around and then down the center, down to this inversion point in the center, we call it collapsing. It all collapses down. All the information and everything collapses down to its simplest in a very fast form. And perhaps it even inverts from positive into a negative or something. Anyway, and this is what I was thinking about when I thought about the whole, what can we do with damages where I was injured. I'm imagining one enveloping another and replacing it. Wow, that's cool, anti-vax. Enveloping another. So this one's coming and it envelopes it and replaces it. So that they merge, right? And become all the energy of the two become one. Mm-hmm. Power struggles. Your mind is phenomenal. How it looks at things. The impossible becomes possible. It does, and even from a young age, I remember my dad locked the keys in the van. It was a rental van. We weren't accustomed to using it. We drove from Wisconsin to Tennessee for Christmas to spend Christmas with family. And he went to warm up the van, so he turned it on, set the heat on, and he locked himself out of the van. It's not like we had an extra set of keys for it. So, I just went about thinking, I'm going to do this in the most unusual way. I'm going to get into that van. I wasn't looking at the van. I just knew the problem was we can't get into the van. So I looked around the kitchen and I thought, what's the most absurd thing that I can apply to this to solve the problem? And so I got one of these big wooden forks that was hanging, a decorative fork that was hanging on the wall. And I took it down and I went out to the van. And I was determined, I'm going to get into the van using this fork. You use what you have, or if you're a comedian or something, you try to do something absurd. Well, I found that a back window, one of these little windows, vent windows that come, pops up a little bit, that was loose. So I got that open and I stuck the fork in and I got it up to the next door and was able to unlock something there. And so I did it. So imagination, creativity, the willingness to brainstorm things and try out totally absurd ideas. That's a big part of my thought process. And, almost comedic in nature. And a lot of what I've been doing since 2009 has been, trying to figure out how do we, at first I would say how to get rid of the Federal Reserve, one of the biggest financial institutions in the world. But really, how do we nullify its harmful effects on the world is really the question. And along the way, I'd hear things like Buckminster Fuller saying, well, if there's something like this, if there's a system or something that you don't like, instead of fighting against it, supersede it. Come up with a way to to do something bigger and better. And that's that's kind of what you were saying about the you've got the one system, torus field of energy, and then another one comes by and swallows it up like the Pac-Man. And as they say in Star Trek when they talk about the Borg, it's like assimilating all of that. Let's see, pure unfaltering intention. Love it. I'm guilty of this myself. Anti-vax writes, I'm not a fan of problem factories, those that latch onto and even thrive off of drama. There's always a solution. Hey. So, yeah, it's like what to do with, flow lines of force, and what can we do with it instead of, you know, collisions and, things that are um, undesirable. You find this in the martial arts, like what taekwondo. I don't need to have this in. Take this out. And it's where you use your enemies, your opponents. Let's just put it your opponents' uh, energy in ways where you if he's throwing a punch at me, I deflect it, and then maybe I grab it and pull because he's pushing that way, so you can take it and add a little to it, and it'll knock him off balance. This is an example of taking a vector of thrust and coming up with another way to do it. And he's intending to hit you in the face, but you block it and divert it and take it off path. And it's a lot of energy and a lot of force. Now, if we can do this where police officers are coming at us, and it's not just the police officer that does this stuff, right? It's a whole racketeering network of all these people who comply with this thought virus of government. And so it ends up being not just a cop against you, it's the whole world, pretty much. I mean, it seems like lots and lots of things are going against you. I've got things from a police encounter from 2008 that are still in play, and economically it's all been working against me. So dun, 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 dun. I suppose you can do whatever you want, bend it however you wish. It's your reality. It's my prerogative. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. But your thoughts create that reality. So, what are you really thinking? What are you spelling out? Mm-hmm. Well, the whole thing about the Federal Reserve, the idea, the main objective, as I think about it over time, is to eliminate debt. And then it kind of clarifies a little even more so to eliminate the harmful effects of money on the human race. And I've devised that the reason money is harmful on us is because it's based on either scarcity or debt. But if we base it on something like forgiveness, then we can use it all day long and it doesn't harm us because the forgiveness speaks to our infinite personal worth and it doesn't offend our psyches. Oh, yeah. Zurich, Switzerland. That's where I met this guy. I'm going to read a little bit about him. He's a very interesting fellow. Robert Levin is an inventor, mobile and digital health expert, serial entrepreneur, and author. He's currently the CEO of TransClick, a real time translation service with over 14 million digital client downloads. He has over 25 years of senior level Wall Street and technology experience and has raised $150 million for funds and technology companies. Robert has expertise in applying innovation in machine learning, AI, to finance and other enterprise verticals, macroeconomics applied to global asset allocation, alternative beta strategies, hedging portfolio risk, as well as private equity, um, venture capital in emergent technologies, including cybersecurity, blockchain, and artificial intelligence. He's an inventor, best selling author, public speaker, and holds one issued U.S. patent. He's also a strategist in global macro emerging markets and technology investments. He was trained at Solomon Brothers and was a top strategist for two hedge funds, reporting to Paul Tudor Jones at Tudor and Lewis Bacon at Moore Global. Robert is a tech laureate at the Tech Museum of Innovation and has won the Golden Edison Award for Innovation in Mobile Apps, is a member of the Always On Mobile 100 top 100 mobile companies and the Always On Global 250. He's a thought leader in global innovation and the author of the first biography of President Bill Clinton, The Inside Story, and Democratic Blueprints, National Leaders Chart America's Future. He was an adjunct assistant professor of finance at the Columbia Business School, teaching global investment strategy, and an adjunct assistant professor of political economy at the Columbia University. He has a master's of international affairs from the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy and an MBA in finance from the Stern School of Business. Quite the guy. And I happened to put his name in my um, the white paper about Remedy Coin. Oops, not that qualified. Let's see, that sounds pretty aligned. I hope to see you speaking at an event about this one day. Well, I did too. But in the meantime, I'm going to make the most of this platform I have and get this out there to people in this really nice, intimate way. I mean, here we've got two people watching right now, and we can answer questions, get the message more refined. That's why I did this. I did this for a year, talking about this on the show. Just practice, get my brain working. If you look back at my oldest shows, man, my brain was not functioning that well. So this is kind of therapy for me. It's practice, and plus I get to help people with the tuning forks and all that. let's talk about some of the places that Joe Baker's Remedy Report can be found online in case we get bumped off of off the air. So this is a link where you can see them, all the places that it's at. You seemed nervous the last few shows, but you're back in the saddle now, doing good. Thank you. Yeah, I think I did sense a little bit of that watching the replay. Yesterday's show, I edited it afterward and uploaded it to all the different places that I have access to. Pretty much. I couldn't get it up to Twitter though. Twitter wants me to stream it to them live, and I don't want to pay for streaming services right now, so I'm using the free duck here. You know, this guy up here, the duck. StreamYard. There, you can read it up there in the corner. And it's working great, but I can only stream to one of the platforms from here. But afterward, I download it and I can upload it to those other places. Rumble is one I'm really interested in getting more exposure on. Rumble.com, Judge Remedy Report. And if you guys don't mind, hop on over to Rumble, set yourself up an account, and subscribe to mine. Why is this important? I need to have 100 followers on Rumble in order to have free streaming services there. Otherwise, I got to pay another monthly bill or something. right now, I'm sinking financially, and it's not so good right now. You know, you kind of wonder if you're going to come out the other side all right. But you know, life seems to just go on, and we well, until it doesn't. But it's all good, you know. Excuse me for yawning, but here's forgivenesscapital.com. There's a place on there where you can go do donations if you're so inclined. Yeah, yesterday the guest was Eddie Craig, Tao of Law, and I got that edited interview and put it up on BitChute, on Rumble, on Float.app, and I reposted it on Facebook because we had some big technical glitches yesterday. I kept dropping out of the picture. Turned out my browser, the Brave browser, wasn't tested properly and all that with StreamYard. So that was the problem. But I've, in an effort to make the system even stronger and more stable, I put a new Ethernet cable together for this location where I'm sitting, and it's running way over there to the router. So I've got that. I don't have to worry about Wi-Fi instabilities or being hacked just because I'm running Wi-Fi. There's a couple more comments. Manifest that money, Joe. Yes. Yeah, I need to do a rain dance for some money. Go out the backyard and do a rain dance. Have you changed your room? Yes, I'm in a different room than normal. And so this is more comfortable here. I've got a proper table. You wouldn't believe the other room. It's a bedroom, and then there's a dresser. And what I do is I pull one of the drawers out, and I put a shelf on top of the drawer, and then I put the laptop on top of that. And then I got a chair at the foot of the bed facing the laptop. The nice thing about that room is I have a big light up in the back, for doing backlighting, and in the front, the lighting I really like in that room. This isn't bad here, but yeah, change the room. Um, right. So yeah. So I've got a couple offerings. If you have like an enemy or something, or maybe there's a politician and you want to do like some voodoo on them or something. I can't do voodoo that's harmful to people, but I can do stuff that helps them. And why would you want to help a politician that you hate? Well, if you want them to not be so mind controlled, um, doing biofield tuning on them might make them less reactive and have more thoughtful responses when they do things. So maybe you've got a coworker at work that has some real bad behavior issues. Well, you could just give me the name, uh, and that they're your coworker, and and then I can do the work on them, and we'll see what happens. I don't know what I'm going to charge for that. I mean, I guess the normal thing is I'm going to do 90 minutes for $70. 90 minutes for $70. How does that sound? And you can look back. I mean, I did this for just kind of targeting Henry Kissinger. You know, a lot of people think he's a pretty evil man uh, in a lot of ways. And so I was working on his childhood and clearing some of the, doing, helping his body to reflect on what those events were in his childhood, so that it kind of normalized his energetic pattern about all that. And oh, but what if they're not human? Antivax asks. Yeah, it would work also for other beings, reptilians, that type of thing. Let's do it. Let's pick some, and we can do a whole list of them. We don't have to just do one or another. We can just go after them, and you'll hear things if we do it live on the show. Um, People who are empathic, anti-vax, you might end up hearing or feeling uh, the energies of the people that we treat. Well, it would seem that way. How can anyone with a soul act that way? Um, these are That's a good question. It's about the energetic flows. It's like, what do they do with the input? Um, what do they do with someone that disappoints them? How do they behave? What kind of behaviors were modeled and engraved into them about how to treat someone who disappoints them. And I have a feeling that some of these things are trauma bound behaviors. I think are in the biofield. But anyway, I'm interested in trying to do all that, help people out with their behaviors and all. I heard them the last couple of shows when you used the tuning fork, chattering away. Oh, awesome! Well, maybe I should get them out. My nose is just kind of stuffy, so let's see. I want to see if I can play a song on here. What's that show I used to do? Uh huh. It was on Twitch is another platform that I go to. Oh, and D Live. I forgot about D Live. So I could upload that other show to them, to that place. Karaoke. Well, it has to be on Chrome. Smule, smule.com/JoeBitcoin.org. That is where those songs are. Maybe I'll play that Willie Nelson song. Oh, Getter. That's another one. Yeah. I haven't gotten an account on Getter, I don't think. Gotta go get her. I'll write that down. Not that I'm going to read it. GETR. I'll go put that up there, and then if you happen to go up there, look for a remedy report and sign up. I might change Joe Baker's remedy report to Joseph William Baker's remedy report because I need to really have my name, I think, in use in commerce in the title of something. Having done the patent patent office process to obtain a service mark. All right, I found it. Let's see. How about Southern Cross? I don't know. Load more. Baby, come back. And this is where I send a lot of people away because they don't like my singing. Beer for my horses. That's not a bad one. I'll load that one up. And then I'll go blow my nose while it's playing. Oh, it isn't ready yet. This can take a long time. Let's see, there's a way to do this where I share a local file in videos. Music. Well, I don't know. Yeah, well, maybe I ought to just shut her down for the day. Oh, the mastering's complete. We can listen to it now. 6 o'clock news said somebody had been shot, somebody had been abused, somebody blew up a building, somebody stole a car, somebody got away, somebody didn't get too far, yeah. Somebody didn't get too far. Grandpappy told my pappy back in my day, son, a man had to answer for the wicked that he done. Take all the rope in Texas, find a tall oak tree, round up all them bad boys, hang them high up in the street for all the people to see. That justice is one thing you should always find. You gotta settle up your boys, you gotta draw a hard line. When the gun smoke settles, sing a victory tune, and we'll all meet back at the local saloon. We'll raise up our glasses against evil forces, singing whiskey for my men and beer for my horses. We got too many gangsters doing dirty deeds, too much corruption and crime in the streets. It's time for the long arm of the law to put a few more on the ground. Send them all to their maker and he'll settle them down. You can bet he'll settle them down. 'Cause justice is the one thing you should always find. You gotta settle up your boys, you gotta draw a hard line. When the gun smoke settles, sing a victory tune, and we'll all meet back at the local saloon. Raise up our glasses against evil forces, singing whiskey for my men and beer for my horses. Whiskey for my men, beer for my horses. Your justice is the one thing you should always find. You gotta saddle up your boys, you gotta draw a hard line. When the gun smoke settles, we'll sing a victory tune, and we'll all meet back at the local saloon. We'll raise up our glasses against evil forces, singing whiskey for my men and beer for my horses. Singing whiskey for my men and beer for my horses. Yeah. Well, that was fun. Nice. Oh, let's try and play something else. Well, there you go. That was a little break. A little clearer now. And but I probably will wrap this up soon, unless anybody has some questions or comments or whatever. What kind of wallet would a person need to hold anti-money or remedy coin? Time to walk the dog. Yep. And I've got different assets do work on different blockchains. So the anti-money, your $10 billion allotment of anti-money would go on any wallet that has Ethereum support. And then the Remedy Coin stuff is on the BitShares network. Yeah, bitshares.org. Yeah, I better take a nap before I do this. I'm gonna try to do a job interview thing a little later this afternoon. Maybe I can do some technical support work for this team. Would be kind of fun. A group that I really respect, and but yeah, I can see I'm going to need some sleep or some rest before I take that call. Thanks everybody for joining me today. We'll see you again soon. Bye bye for now. Thanks, Stephen.
.6 news said somebody had been shot, somebody had been abused, somebody blew.
Bye, everybody.